Okay, we're going to do a quadratic equation. We're going to solve it using a technique called completing the square. Now, the quadratic equation we're going to use that we're trying to solve is x squared plus 12x plus 20 is equal to 0. Now, this is our most basic quadratic equation that we can solve using completing the square. The reason it's the most basic is because we have a coefficient of 1 in front of the x squared term, and we have a nice even number as our regular x term. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this to look like a perfect square in the end, where we have x plus a all squared is equal to b. Now, how are we going to do this, you might ask? Well, there's a few ways that people do it. Completing the square basically means we're going to get the first two terms and we're going to make a perfect square. And the way we do this is we halve the second term, and then put it with just an x term. So the way that works is we go x plus 6. Now, once you've done that, we need to square this to make it look like a perfect square. It needs to look like this. Now, if you were to multiply this quadratic out, it would look like this. X squared plus 12x plus 36. Now, we get left with this 36 term here. Now, this 36 term is not at all like this 20 term, but what's good about it is we've got this x squared plus 12x, which is what we have up the top here. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this perfect square that we've worked on, and then we're going to subtract away this term that we don't want. And what this equation will leave us with is just x squared plus 12x. Now what we want is we want to continue with this. So we bring down this term. And it looks like that. And that all equals 0. So what we've basically done here is we've created a perfect square using the first two terms, which is here. We've then realized that once we create this perfect term, we've got this unwanted c term, so to speak, on the end. What we do with that unwanted c term is we cancel it out by just subtracting it, what the c term is, away from our perfect square, and then we add back on the c term that we actually want here. Now the next step is we're going to combine those two c terms that we have together. So we've got one term. Negative 36 plus 20 is just negative 16. And that all equals 0. So then what we want to do is, so we have this looking like this, we just move the 16 over to the other side by plussing it to both sides. and we're left with that. Now, this is in our nice perfect square form, so it makes it quite easy to solve. So to solve this, let's just bring it over here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to square root both sides. So we have now when we square root something, this is going to be equal to plus or minus. Oh, that's a really bad minus. It's going to equal plus or minus 4. Now the reason this is because if we go back the other way and we want to square 4 to get 16, both 4 squared is equal to 16 and negative 4 squared is equal to 16. So it's this plus or minus term here is super important. So we'll keep going. All we have left is this plus 6 term, so we just minus 6 from both sides. So, and this is our final solution. Now, what we get from this is we get that there are 2 different solutions to this formula. We have x is equal to negative 6 plus 4. And x is equal to negative 6 minus 4. Now in this case, x is equal to, bloody hell, x is equal to negative 2. And in this case, x is equal to negative 10. Now those are our 2 solutions, and we've got there by completing the square. I hope that was helpful.